you have one job. Make a character, hire somebody who knows how to sound like Kermit the Frog. They do it for all other characters all across time. They know how to do it. How do you take the lead main Muppet and drop the ball so bad on the voice where it is almost completely different that it saps me right out of everything every time Kermit talks? Hello, I'm Kermit the Frog. And I probably sounded a lot better than the guy who actually voices Kermit the Frog right now. We are here to get nerdy and maybe a little spicy. We're very protective of the Muppets as fans who grew up loving them. But needless to say, I am John, and that is Lacey, and it is nerdy and nice. Happy Monday, everybody. Whether you are off for President's Day or not, we hope to be the cure to your Monday blues, and we hope you are all doing well out there in Nerdville. Lacey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I watched the Muppet Show. I loved it. We'll get into that later. And yeah, there's just a lot of pop culture news today.
A lot of pop culture news. The Stranger Things actors have just had enough with everything. We'll get into that. We are going to launch a new segment next week that we were going to do today, but we have a loaded episode. And to kick things off, we obviously have some sad news, especially people of our age range and our generation. James Van Der Beek passed away after about a 2-year, I believe, battle with colon cancer at the age of 48. And I know, he means a lot to a lot of people for Dawson's Creek, of course, Varsity Blues, among other things. But it's just sometimes so shocking to see somebody that young die, and I think he had like 6 kids and stuff, and I saw all different people share their stories of his and all that, but I don't know if you were a fan of Dawson's Creek or Varsity Blues or anything that he had done, but any thoughts on James Van Der Beek passing at 48?
So I was a little behind the Dawson's Creek stuff. It was still on when I was younger, but I wasn't like, I would say, the age group for that. But I did love Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
Oh, yep.
He's so good, and he plays himself in that, and it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And that show is only 2 seasons, and it's so sad because it's so good with Kristen Ritter. And I always had hoped they would pick it back up, but they didn't. This is just so heartbreaking. And I saw a post about how, he's passed away, Luke Perry passed away, Shannon Doherty passed away. And it's like, and I know with the Varsity Blues too, they have a picture that like a bunch of people from that had passed away. And it's just sad because
that's true. Paul Walker.
Yeah.
The Billy Bob guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking for so many reasons because, it's always sad when someone passes away too early. But I know for you and me, it's such a kind of hit because these are all like Gen X millennial people. Like they shouldn't be passing away now. And
yeah,
it's
for sure.
It's really kind of humbling and scary and just horrific. Sucks.
Yeah, get any preventative checks you can possibly get done for yourself. Colon cancer is a very scary thing. I know people who are in remission from colon cancer. A friend of ours, Kevin Smets, of course, who's a big promoter of personal health checks and preventative stuff. And it's just sad to see, here today, gone tomorrow type of thing from our perspective. But it seemed like it was a real 2-year, just brutal battle for him, and sad to see. But R.I.P. James Van Der Beek. But we have to move on to other news at the top before we get into our main stories. Halle Berry, Lacey, let me know if you believe her or not. I personally do. She wants everyone to know that Storm, at least via her, is not joining the party in Avengers Doomsday. She said, quote, "Storm's not there. I promise you. You all think I'm being coy and I'm being silly, but I'm not there." Do you believe that Halle Berry will not be showing up as Storm in any of the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars, or anything for Marvel?
I believe her because I think she's saying I didn't get a check, so I'm not there. They paid everybody else, but not me.
I agree with you because I know there were issues even back in the day with the original trilogy of X-Men where she almost didn't come back for the third one, that Brett Ratner did. And I totally believe her 100% here. And, when an actor says,
she's
I promise
super
you,
honest online too. Like
yeah, I'm
she's
not
posting
being
pictures of
phony.
herself, like very revealing. Like
Oh,
she
really?
doesn't, yeah, she doesn't care about anything. She
Yeah.
makes fun of her like wigs in certain films and like really jokes around with fans. So like
Keeping it real.
Yeah, I don't see her lying about this.
Yeah, I agree. I like Halle Berry, and I thought her storm was cool. I did find it funny how in the first X-Men she tried an African accent, and then the second one they're like, just forget it.
No.
Just
Yeah,
don't.
just let it go.
But yeah, no accent or not, I agree. I think we both agree. Halle Berry is telling the truth here, and she will not be popping in Doomsday. Will they recast?
But will
the
she be
character or will
Catwoman?
not? Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's make Catwoman 2 happen. All right, Lacey. The last thing at the top here: Spider Noir series with Nick Cage hits Amazon this May. Another iteration of the Spider-Man hero. What'd you make of this trailer and any interest in this one? Amazon in May. Spider Noir, Nick Cage.
So I haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where this is kind of a spin-off of. I know Nick Cage did the voice for this character in that film.
Yeah.
So I definitely got to get caught up there. But I love Nick Cage. I don't think he can do any wrong. I love that he picks these like kind of over-the-top crazy roles. I saw that one film recently where he played himself with Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good.
He's a really
I
good actor.
love National Treasure. And oh, it's so good. It's so good. I would probably check out a couple episodes of this. I'm not gonna lie. Like again, I don't think I'm the super fan of it. Like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And I think like I said, I got to get caught up. But it looked well shot. It looked compelling. It had the whole like black and white noir vibes going. So I checked this out, and it's on Amazon, so I already have it. So
yeah, same here. I am also a Nick Cage fan. I think people think he's crazier than he is because anytime he's interviewed, people approach him from this like zany perspective, and he's sort of like, "What are you doing?"
I feel like people treat him like they treat Jim Carrey. Like Jim Carrey, they're like, "You're the jokey guy, right?" And it's like,
yeah,
what?
and Jeff Goldblum too. They're like, Jeff Goldblum, he's so weird and stuff. I'm like, he's just doing that because he's just trying like entertaining himself. Like, he's not crazy.
I think he leans into it more than the other two do.
He does. Yeah. I agree with Jim Carrey too. He's a very existential cat lately. But yeah, this does look kind of cool. It absolutely reminded me of 2005 Sin City in the way it was shot and the clear obvious comparisons with noir. So, but in the black and white setting, very comic book feel, so it's right up that alley. I did enjoy Sin City. So I am going to give this one a go when it arrives, and we'll see what happens with it. But it is time to get into our main stories, Lacey. So what is happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Lots of stories going on this week from all different types of franchises, which is always exciting that we're not talking about the same thing every week.
Yeah.
So kicking it off, we have a returning story that we had a couple months ago, which is The Mummy 4 with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz is happening, and it gets a May 19th, 2028 release, which is exciting. So like it's officially going to happen. They can't back out now.
Yeah.
And the people involved have said that they're excited with where it's going and they want it to be a very beautiful, sweeping, scary, and fun film, which is what we all want, right? So what are your thoughts? Are you pretty pumped for this movie? Did you pick up on anything from this interview with Empire?
Oh, yeah. I am very happy for Brendan Fraser, obviously for coming back from being shunned out of Hollywood, seemingly because he didn't accept the sexual advances of a big movie mogul or something of that nature.
It was someone from the Hollywood Foreign Press.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And with everything that's going on in the world today, like that type of like story is not shocking now. But
Yeah.
to see him come back and win an Oscar, it's so awesome to see. But I am not going to pretend I'm excited for The Mummy 4, and it's not Brendan Fraser's fault. I mean, I think what I guess I'm happy that they're doing it. I'm glad Rachel Weisz is back because she didn't do the third one. But really, the first Mummy was the only good one. It was 27 years ago. And this one is coming with a brand new writer, and the Ready or Not guys are taking it over, sort of like they did with Scream 5 and 6. I did not like Scream 5 and 6. I like Ready or Not. We'll see if I like Ready or Not too. But the dude writing this new Mummy is David Cogshaw, and I looked at his resume, and it looks pretty rough. So the writing is
What has he done?
Not a lot that you would know. So his list, as far as writing goes, is The Family Plan. I don't know if you are familiar with that movie.
Is that with Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wrote that. He wrote The Deliverance from 2024, which that does not have, that is a 5 on IMDb. He did Orphan First Kill. I don't know what that is, but that is a 5 on IMDb. He wrote the movie Prey. It looks like he did a lot of horror stuff. He wrote 9 episodes of the Scream TV series, which wasn't that great. So let's just put it this way. It's not David Koepp or like somebody who you would think would be a big name to write something like this. So that concerns me. I believe that the Ready or Not guys can sort of figure it out, but I did not like Scream 5 and 6. And I love the original Scream. I like Scream 2. Scream 3 has a great opening scene. That's about it. But
what are the 5 and 6 ones? Like, are they different than the others?
Those are the ones with Jenna Ortega and that other girl, Melissa Carrera. And they were misses for me. I just thought they went too gory. They didn't have
the one that they went to New York, right?
Yeah, number 6 they went to New York. 5 was back in Woodsboro, I believe. But very dumb killer reveals. Story made no sense. The characters very not memorable at all. But anyway, I'm not talking about Scream. Eventually I will be, because I'm going to watch the new one, of course. But they always drag me back in. But Lacey, I guess I'm a little concerned with the writing. Also the fact that, they are waiting a long time. And we saw what happened when they tried to bring Harrison Ford back after a long time as Indiana Jones. And this is it's supposed to be the same type of feel, 1940s. The first one was 1930s, I believe. And this one, I don't know when it's taking place. I guess they have to advance with the age like they did with Indiana Jones. But Brendan Fraser's in his late 50s now. What are we going to get out of him? So I'm curious about it, but I have very low hopes about The Mummy 4. Nothing about this is jumping out at me as like, wow, they're really going to like capture the magic of the first one. It
seems like they keep trying to do this. Yeah,
it seems like a nice idea, but it seems like they must have had a hard time getting somebody interested in writing this thing. Because if that's who they landed with, I don't know. So I hope it doesn't do anything to hurt Brendan Fraser's career again, because I am rooting for him. He seems like one of the nicest guys in movies, but I am pretty low on The Mummy 4 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally understand that. I think just like with many projects we've been talking about recently, like the newest Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a priority for Disney and stuff.
Yeah.
It feels per usual that studios have no new ideas, so they're trying to go back into their bucket of what are those big hits that people feel so nostalgic for and do cosplay for and are at Comic-Con talking about it all the time. And The Mummy 4, not The Mummy 4, I'm reading that off the piece of paper, but The Mummy itself is a movie that everybody loves. Like, it's one of those like, oh, that's such a good movie, and it surprised a lot of people. And I think it surprised studios, too, on how well it did, that they're just trying to make it work again. And I think it's not going to. Yeah. It's not going to make the money they wanted it to. But then they're looking at Jurassic World that just makes buckets and buckets of money.
Yeah. And I hope it does well, and I hope it's good, but I just don't know. I saw the original Mummy in the theaters. Like, me and my friends went.
So did I.
And I remember, like, falling in love with Rachel Weisz and having no idea who she was. And we were all like, oh, my God, she's beautiful. Like, and we were all in. We were, 17 years old, 16 years old, whatever it was. But I don't know, nothing about this is jumping out at me as like, this is going to be it. They're recapturing the magic of the first one or whatever. So I think it's going to be a mess, and we'll find out in 2 years.
Speaking of mess.
Oh.
The Russo brothers are talking about Avengers Doomsday in Empire magazine, which is also what we're, Empire and Empire. They're killing it lately. But yeah, so they've released a bunch of clips of all the different, several different characters, including Steve Rogers was the big one. I don't think they got the big bump they wanted from that clip with Steve Rogers. Like, I feel like people didn't have a huge reaction to it that they should have, or they were assuming they would. Like, one of the clips that I see all the time online from Avengers Endgame is when Steve grabs the hammer. That clip of the theater reaction when he rolls up and grabs Thor's hammer is like the biggest movie moment ever. And I remember screaming in the theater when it happened. It's my favorite moment in the movie. I get it. I understand the hype. I think they were expecting that similar hype here, being like, he's back. And they didn't get it. Now the Russos are going on to Instagram saying, what you've been watching for the last 4 weeks are not teasers or trailers. They're stories. They are clues. Pay attention. Hashtag Doomsday has begun. John, what is your thought on their way of releasing these things? The kind of clues they're leaving on the internet for people. I think it's too much work for people to be involved.
Yeah, I think sort of like how on TRB we were talking about how people were kind of confused about the Mandalorian and Grogu Super Bowl spot. I think people were confused about what these were. And now you have the Russos saying like, it's already started, and these are little stories to get you ready and caught up so that when the movie starts, we could just hit go. And it's like, all right, that's fine. But again,
I think they're asking a lot of the audience.
Yeah. That also could be very reactionary to the lack of buzz that happened. Because there were a lot of people posted, because that spot opened ahead of Avatar, I think. The Steve Rogers one.
It did.
People were showing dead silent theaters, like zero reaction. People didn't care.
They didn't.
And I think why people don't care, and I'm not saying everybody, I know, I'm not trying to hate, I know people are really jacked up about this movie, and I want people to have fun with it. I'm just looking at it as not the biggest Marvel fan, so I'm just giving you my perspective. I'm fully admitting I'm a DC guy. I'm not trying to hate on Marvel, but I think when you play with the emotions of your audience and you do stuff like they did in Avengers Infinity War, where they wipe out half the cast and they do these very dramatic goodbyes and, oh my God, I can't believe blank are gone. And then you bring them all back in Endgame, and then you end that story and you kill Tony Stark. And Steve Rogers goes back in time to be with Peggy. And that concluded his story. We see him on the bench as the old man, and he hands over the shield. And we're like, that actually was a really nice ending. I feel good about that ending for Steve Rogers. And then they're like, but just kidding, he's back. And then it's like,
it feels cheap.
All that crap we endured to like close out his story now, it's like, well, that kind of doesn't matter now. So I don't like that, because they got their payoff. They got their tears in the theaters. They got their satisfied customers about Captain America and the close of his story. And now none of that matters because they're bringing him back. So I think there's a little bit of annoyance with fans with that kind of stuff. Because just a year ago, they were telling us, here's your new Captain America. It's Anthony Mackie. He is Captain America. And then that
he's awesome.
Tanked. I've heard he can be a difficult character, but then that movie tanks, and then they're like, all right,
with Harrison Ford, by the way.
Steve Rogers is back. Here's Captain America again. I think fans are getting a little annoyed with that. I can't speak to the Thor stuff, because I think Thor was kind of like crappy in Endgame, like fat Big Lebowski Thor.
The depressed one, yeah.
Yeah, like it seems like they're making him serious again, and that's fine. The X-Men one looked cool, like Cyclops looks cool, but again, he died in the third X-Men movie, and there was this big thing about that. So it's like, I think Marvel's like, they get to do it because it's a comic, and characters always die in comics and comic books and come back, but I think people are just like, you play with our emotions so much for these characters, and then it ends up not mattering at all. So I think that's it with me. And I just am still wondering how they're going to jam all these people into this movies and make it still feel like a solid full story. I don't know. I mean,
because to me, it's just going to feel like the end of Endgame, where where they all show up out of the portals, and they're like, Avengers Assemble. Like, that's how it's going to feel to me.
I know, and it's going to make $1 gazillion, and maybe they end up making the greatest Marvel movie ever. It's very possible. I just don't know. I'm just going by the perspective of how I think fans are feeling about it. There's a little fatigue. There's a little maybe like annoyance of these re-returns and the destruction of the payoff of the prior conclusions to the stories. Like, we saw a lot of these characters ride off into the sunset, and it's just, I don't know. It remains to be seen, but.
Yeah, it's weird that they just keep bringing these people back, because it feels like you're not getting the payoff of being with that character through their journey from beginning to end, and all the hardships they went through, and happiness, pain, etc., that you see over the course of all those movies with the Avengers, to then just bring them back again. But it might not be that version. It might be a different version. You're like, okay, so now I have to know that this isn't the version I know. This is a different version, but yet it's kind of the same.
Yeah, it's messy, and it remains to be seen. We have 9 months to go till it comes out, but
yeah,
that's all I have to say on that.
Well, the next story is something that is interesting to me, because
I want you to start this one off, because I'm very curious, because I know you're a huge fan of what you think about it.
Yeah, so it was announced this week that Apple acquired Severance as it grows its in-house studio, and it eyes a summer season 3 start. So they're going to start filming it this summer, and then they're going to have a full 4-season run. But they're looking to expand it within the universe, and then so Apple decided, hey, this has been so crazy successful. It was their most watched series of all time with season 2. It was the most nominated program, excuse me, at the 2025 Emmys, with 27 Emmys. So Apple said, you know what? We're buying it. And they paid seemingly the tune of $70 million for Severance. The IP. That does seem low, doesn't it? The IP of Severance. So that being said, the way I feel about it is, my concern is that now that I know, especially that they're going to expand the universe and they're thinking about doing spin-offs and all this other stuff, I feel like we're not going to get answers to things, and we're not going to get a fully developed, concluded story, because they have to leave things open to expand the universe. And I think that sometimes we see with franchises and these streaming services that have put a lot of money, time, attention to certain series, as in Netflix with Stranger Things, they don't want to lose that cash cow. They want it to keep making them money. So they're going to drag it out, even if the story isn't where they want it to be, just to keep people sticking around. Because churn is a real big thing with these streaming services. We all do it. Once you stop watching something, you cancel the service and move on. I do this with Apple, to be honest. So Severance was something that I got into it in season 1 before season 2 started. Like right before season 2. I jumped on, blew through season 1, got so excited for season 2. I thought season 1 was a little bit better than season 2, which is fine. But I was hyped to see where it was going. But it seems like, to me, they're once again dragging out the production and series, because they're not even going to start filming it until this summer. And I don't think they've even written anything yet. And I know Ben Stiller has said that, you know, it's not his priority right now. He's working on other things like a war movie or something. I remember a time, I'm going to be an old person right now. I remember a time growing up where a series that you loved had 22 episodes, 24 episodes, and it ran all year long. And they had a season coming the next year. Like it was one after the other. You didn't have to worry about these big gaps except over the summer. They ran it from September to about April, May. All year long, they ran this show. Buffy is an example. Like I watched that show every week. It was so hype. 24 episodes. And some episodes pushed the big storyline along. And some of them didn't, which is where the term filler came from. But even though those were filler episodes, they would give you something that would move the story to where it needs to go. Now you're getting like 8 episodes, which I understand that they're an hour or whatever. I would still argue that back in the day, they were also an hour. And it's just frustrating because by the time this show will come back again, you're going to forget what you watched. And these shows in particular have so many details and so many specific moments that you have to like put together in the puzzle that you're like, oh, now I got to go back and binge this whole thing again. And that's what they want you to do.
Yeah.
So I get frustrated when I'm like, okay, so they're not going to start filming this until the summer. So I'm probably not going to see it until 2 years from now. So that's my frustration. And when I see Apple acquired it, my understanding is not only do they want to grow this and keep making money from it, I bet they're forcing the hand to get it done. Because when Ben Stiller came out and said, look, it's not a priority for us, we're working on it, Apple's probably like, no, let's go. Let's get this going because we can't keep waiting for you. So they were like, look, we'll buy it from you if we get to move forward.
Yeah, that price tag seems so low to me.
Yeah.
Also, I tried to look for like comparisons if there was anything else like this, and I guess I don't know the show very well, but the show Silo,
They bought that, yeah.
They bought that for season 2, so I was like, oh, let me look at how season 1 did versus season 2 because both had been out, and Silo season 1 had an 89% with critics and a 70% with audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, and season 2 went up with critics to 92, but down with the audience to 66. Not a drastic drop or drastic change, but I think audiences didn't like season 2 as much. That's not enough of a change for me to say like, oh, this is what happens when Apple buys a TV series. So
right,
the jury's out on that. I always get a little worried when there is that big of a changing of the guard midway through a TV show's run, though. I know that happened with Scrubs. Scrubs went from NBC to ABC, and actually wound up, I think, saving the series to land on its feet. And now it's, of course, coming back, and I'm actually really excited because the last trailer for it was redeemable. But I don't know.
It also worries me with the studio stepping in over creatives because now they're saying, hey, we have the final say.
Yeah, but as long as Ben Stiller is still involved and the main cast is still involved and the team that are creating it are there, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Maybe Apple's just pushing them along. So I'm not about to wave the flag of concern yet here, but if we see season 3 and it's clear that the quality just isn't there, you have to wonder, is that because they are starting to get a bit the creators are starting to get a bit disenfranchised because of the being under the thumb of Apple now or whatever. So, because there's been a lot of shows over time where the writers leave and that sort of thing.
And you could always tell, by the way.
Always tell. So, I'm excited that they are going to start production on it. I agree. I do wish it was more of a every April or whatever, every September. I know this show's coming back. I do miss that. I think people miss the consistency of that type of thing and the comfort of knowing their favorite show's coming back. It is hard for people to be like, oh yeah, forgot about Ozark and they're doing season 4 or whatever, and it's just so staggered and all that.
There's a reason people go back and comfort watch The Office or Seinfeld or Friends or whatever. Yeah.
I still think it'll be really good. I just hope it holds up to the incredible returns from seasons 1 and season 2 from a fan perspective.
Yeah. Speaking of fan perspective, the Stranger Things cast, which you hinted out earlier, continues to give some interviews and give their thoughts on things. Which, by the way, Maya Hawke just got married over the weekend. Congratulations. She got married on Valentine's Day in the city, which is so exciting. Good for her. Nice. But Stranger Things star Caleb McLaughlin, Lucas, gets candid about the show's ending and his thoughts on dumb fan theories. So this is what he said. He said, "At first, I thought the conformity gate theory was dumb. I get that people want to live in the optimistic place of, oh, we want more Stranger Things. But I was like, guys, it's over. It's been 10 years.
Oh.
I think people miss the concept of what the show is when they're like, oh, there's going to be more. No, that's just Mike's imagination. That's who he's always been, even in season 1. It's all just storytelling." So, John, what do you think about what he said?
Well, yeah, and he also went on to say, like, in his view, 11 did die. And sort of like what my take was when we reviewed it, which does make it better, is that she died. And he's like, yeah, Mike was just being the storyteller. So I'm glad that's his point of view as well. And I don't mind him being candid. I can't blame him. I mean, I went back and watched the first few episodes of season 1 again, and I always do that after a series ends. I'm like, let me go back to refresh on how much has changed. And like, you pop it on, and this dude was like a little kid, man. He was a little kid, and now he's a grown-ass dude. He's like about to be 25. He's got facial hair, and like, people want to, like, he's allowed to grow up too, you know? You don't get to keep him in this tiny little box and he's like a teenager forever. So I understand, especially the fact that the show came out a few months ago, but they had filmed this thing over a year and a half ago. Like, they already said their goodbyes. Like, the promo tour.
And he says that in the interview. He's like, I'm past that point.
Yeah, the promo tour for the last season or the last movie of a particular series or continuity has to be so strange for the talent, because with prior seasons, you know, like, we're coming back and we're going to film some more. But when it's done, and you had filmed your last part and said goodbye to the character, and then you have to go promote it, there is always a different feeling. You can tell. We saw it with Star Wars with episode 9.
You're also trying very hard not to give stuff away. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can tell the senioritis going on when they're promoting these final seasons, whether you like them or not, including the final, like I said, movie in a series. There's just a different feeling from the cast. And the directors are always trying to, like, no, like, we're all still in it together. We're all, you know. So I don't blame him at all for what he had to say. I do think fan theories get out of control. And you blur the lines between, I'm a fan of this and I think I know better, and this is what it should be. And then that turns into the defense mechanism of a fan saying, like, or the denial of the fan saying, like, this can't be it because I wanted this to happen. So there must be more. And it's like, like the kid said, he's like, I've got rid of my wardrobe 2 years ago. I have left the 80s. We are not here anymore. So I actually kind of like that he said this, even though it might come across as a little mean that he said they were dumb. But
I think he also is.
Fans need to get wrapped on the nose a little and say, like, no, you didn't make the show. You were a fan of the show. If you didn't like how it ended, fine. But there's not a secret episode, and it's pretty crazy for people to think that there would be.
Yeah, and I think with this cast in particular, because they grew up with seemingly the fans themselves, because they grew up alongside you, there is this aspect of the parasocial relationship with these cast members and their fans. And I know that I've seen time and time again, like, oh, clearly everybody hates Millie Bobby Brown, and like, oh, look at how they treat Sadie, and like,
oh, it's crazy.
All these kinds of crazy things. And so from Caleb's perspective, he's probably seeing that stuff all the time. He's probably online, and when he sees theories, he's just going like, just let this go, guys. Like, let it, enough. And probably not only that, I feel like oftentimes we discuss this with Star Wars. the press throw these stupid fan theories at people. Like, they're like, oh, we saw this Instagram post about this. What do you think? And the cast is like, I don't, what? Like, this is what you're using your press time to talk to me about? Like, I could see that being a little frustrating as well. You're like, I just want to talk about my experiences and like what I think about this character. And you're having me talk about Joe Schmo's thirst tweet.
Right.
It can get a little frustrating, but I mean, I think fandom in general has definitely escalated to a crazy point online over the past 5 years, especially with COVID, when nobody had anything to do except be online. I think that there's some people that like their whole life is to be online. And unfortunately, we're seeing the negative, ramifications of that, which is people getting very invested in these franchises in a way that's like not necessarily healthy. And that impacts the actors like it is with Caleb right here. So
yeah, I think there's also that fear with like young actors of being only known as those characters.
Yeah,
like,
he wants to move on. Just like Millie does, just like other people.
Yeah, they're trying to talk about other things and they're like, so what was your take on Lucas and Max and like this scene? And he's like, probably like, I don't even remember that scene. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, so yeah, I empathize and I sort of understand why they may feel that way. And I can't necessarily blame them. And fans do need to let go. And if you didn't like it, just move on.
One of my funniest kind of fandom moments was at New York Comic Con years ago. I was in one of the panels and it was with David Duchovny and they were talking about X-Files. And someone got up there and was like, in season 3, episode 17, at 16 minutes in, and this is really his question. He said, you walk into a room and grab a chair. What were you thinking when you grabbed that chair?
To David Duchovny?
Yeah. And David Duchovny was like, that is the dumbest question I've ever been asked.
He said
and
that?
Yeah. He was like, that is dumb. Like, what do you expect me to, like, what do you want me to say?
But what if that fan, like, had a disability or something? You never know.
I don't know. It was like it came across as kind of a gotcha more than anything else. Like, I remember it being kind of like everybody in the room was like, what?
As long as the guy wasn't like destroyed by that answer, like ruined his life.
But I do remember very vividly being like, that is a very specific detail that like David Duchovny was like, what? No, I'm not answering this question. Like, give me a different question.
Right.
So then the guy next to him or behind him was like, hey, you did these type of episodes, like anthology or something, black and white episode. Like, would you ever want to do? And then he goes, see, that's a good question.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, like people ask crazy questions, and they always ask like, can I get a selfie? But like that one guy was like, you grabbed a chair. And I remember being like, this is the most bizarre question I've ever experienced.
He just gave like a very detailed answer about method acting and then been like, I'm just kidding. I don't remember that at all.
I would have, I would have been like, chairs have always been like really important to me in my life. Back in my childhood, there was this chair in my room and it was just, a chair that I sat in sometimes and really contemplated who I was as a person. And ever since then, it's really, anytime I'm in a scene with a chair, I just really have to grab the chair.
He's like, my father threw away my favorite chair. And ever since then,
he's making me laugh that you have a chair behind
you. He's like pointing at it. Yeah, I got a chair right there. He's like, ever since then, I make sure when I enter a room, I grab a chair just to let it know that I'm here.
And he passed away. Yeah, he passed away. And the chair reminds me of my father.
Yeah.
Then at the end, he's like, just kidding. None of that matters. No, I don't know.
Kidding. That question sucked ass. Okay.
Anyway, let's get into what we have been watching, huh?
Let us do it.
We can never leave the house and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
So first of all, I have been trying my best to avoid this thing for years now. I have worked so hard to not let it seep into my life, specifically into my children's lives. And that is Paw Patrol. And I've tried so hard to not, I've done, let's watch something else, or, oh, let's do this other thing, or, oh my God, don't we want to watch this? it's happened. Over the weekend, my daughter got a Paw Patrol doll from a claw machine at a birthday party, and immediately was Ava at school, the girl she plays with, loves Paw Patrol. I want to watch Paw Patrol. So we watched the Paw Patrol movie, and now we watch the show, and now we're all about Paw Patrol. And I hate it. It is so dumb. I don't like it. And it is the first instance that my kids shows I'm like, how can I get them off this? This and Cocomelon were the two things that I was like, how can I get them away from these things? Did your kids ever get into Paw Patrol?
Yeah, we had some of the toys and stuff. I was actually just looking around the room. I'm like, I think we gave them away already. But
no, don't give me any. No,
bring them all to your house.
No. Nope. No. It is interesting though, because the movie's very like, the main character Chase, who's like the cop dog. He's got like PTSD from being a cop, and like can't be up high, and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is kind of intense for a kids movie. The other thing I watched, which has nothing to do with kids programming, is there's a new season of Love Is Blind is out.
There is?
Yep, new season, volume 1 is out on Netflix. It is for the season is in Ohio. So,
James.
There's the random guy on there named James Baney. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's in Ohio, and surprisingly this season, I think they got a new editor because it's better, like the narratives are more cohesive between the characters and like who they choose and why. I will still say that many of people on this show should probably go to therapy, and I say that with love as someone that's in therapy myself. Like you see them on TV and you're like, you really just like, I understand that you want to meet someone that you love, but like you also need to take care of yourself first. But it does seem so far in this first section that the people that are on the show are there to actually be in a relationship. They are not there to be on TV. So we'll see how that progresses. But right now it seems like the people are very serious about being in a relationship.
That's good if they did proper vetting and, again, or whatever. But
that's what I meant, is like the casting seems better.
But don't you think anyone that is going to be on a TV show and air out all this personal stuff about themselves in an effort to get engaged to somebody they've never looked at is a little cuckoo bungo upstairs?
I think you have to be a little bit. But I also think that dating right now, currently online, is also a little cuckoo bungo. From what I've read with articles, studies that have been done, I think the whole kind of Tinder, swipe right dating scene is really difficult. And I'm so happy, by the way, that I missed that.
Me too.
I locked it in like right before that took place. So happy I did not take part in that at all.
For so many reasons, I'm happy. I was pre-Tinder.
Yeah, no. I also am so happy that like my teen, especially, but like college years too, were very early on in social media phases. That like all my horrible decisions aren't on the internet forever. That is something that I feel for younger kids now. It's like you make a mistake and it's out there for everybody to see. But anyway, so it seems like the people are really there for love, and there's a couple of the couples that I'm genuinely rooting for. There's this one guy that's kind of a bigger guy, and he just kind of says that he always gets overlooked. He loves cooking, and he just seems like a genuinely nice person. And he said that one of his deal breakers was not having kids or kids in general. And then he ended up pairing up with a woman that has a 7-year-old daughter. So to me, I'm like, wow, that's like such an interesting story. Like this is a guy that didn't want kids, but like he fell in love with someone with kids and it didn't bother him at all. And they seem like they're really into each other. So I'm rooting for them. And I know the show's going to break me like usual and be like, come out of it being super pessimistic, but
all right.
Right now.
Well, good to see that they might have people who actually want to find love. So,
like, I feel the other shows, the other seasons, past, I would say 3 or 4 seasons, within the first episode, all this stuff was coming out about people. Now, there's been a couple people that have had that happen, but overall, it hasn't. So we'll see.
Well, for me, Johnny, one of the first movies he fell in love with was The Secret Life of Pets 2, specifically, because it was the only one on Netflix at the time, and it's the one with Harrison Ford in it.
Oh.
And now we're introducing her to them, and she's watched both, and her and I actually, for Valentine's Day, Kathleen had to take Johnny to a birthday party. So Daisy and I went to the store, we bought a bunch of candy, and we got popcorn, and we watched a movie down here, like a movie theater. We watched Secret Life of Pets, the first one. And she like really loves that movie. Today we watched the second one, and because I was like, "Did you know there's a second one?" She's like, "There's a second one." So, she's about to be 5.
Is that the one with Louis C.K.?
He's in the first one, and then when it turned out he was a total creepo, they replaced him with Patton Oswalt in the second one. And I like the second one better, and I think she did too. So we watched those two, and that was a lot of fun. I've also been watching the Olympics, but not a lot. I've actually I love curling. I don't know, because it's like the
oh my god, the drama of curling.
I've been rooting hard for the USA. The mixed USA team lost in the final, so they won the silver. I think the men's are still going on, and I think the women did well. I don't recall.
The women just won something.
They won the gold, the US women?
I don't know about the gold, but they defeated, I think, Canada or something.
Oh, okay.
They defeated someone.
I thought I saw that. So I just think curling's a lot of fun. It seems like something you can do without getting terribly winded. Which is great for me. I would love to try it too.
Are you going to talk about the cheating? The cheating scandal that's been everywhere?
Yeah, I saw that, how Canada cheated by like adding a little finger spin at the end across the line, and they were called out for it, and he refuted it, saying like, "No, I didn't cheat," but it clearly seemed he did, but he's not going to get penalized for it. So
do you know the whole story though?
In curling? I thought I just said the whole story, but I guess
no. So they've been cheating for a while, and Sweden knew that they were cheating. And the way that the cameras are set up with curling, and the way that they were cheating with the finger, you couldn't see it from the cameras when the umpires were watching. So Sweden knew that. So Sweden set up the camera in the stands at the hog line, so that when he cheated, they would get it on camera. So when that fight broke out, and the guy from Sweden goes, "Okay, I'll show you a video after the match, and you can tell me you weren't cheating." And the guy's like, "I'm not cheating," which his name's Mark Kennedy. He's from the Canada team, which they've won years and years and years. And
because he was cheating?
They don't know, but the guy from Sweden says that he's been a known cheater for a long time.
All right. Well,
so Sweden set up this camera, and then they get into a fight with a bunch of swear words on national, worldwide television. And the guy from Canada saying, "I wouldn't cheat. Like, get out of here. You're a jerk, whatever." And the guy from Sweden's like, "We'll play the tape, man. We'll play the tape." So basically, they've destroyed Canada's reputation because this video gets out on social media via Sweden. Sweden loses the match, but then they don't get disqualified, Canada. Then Canada puts out this apology and is like, "Hey, like, everybody's passionate and like we're very competitive here. So like it was a tough match," but like they don't apologize for cheating. And they're still in. And then the girls the next day get caught for cheating. The women's Canada team did the same finger move at the hog line and got called out in the match by the umpires and by the other team.
Why would they cheat again? Were they not aware that the men's were called
No,
out?
they were fully aware. This thing went everywhere. This
and
fight.
They still decided to do it, even though they knew everyone would be
They
looking at
claimed they didn't. And so the girl starts arguing with the ref, and she's like, "I would never do it." And then they put a camera at the same spot again.
There should always be a camera there. Why wouldn't there be a camera there?
I don't know, but there was a camera at the hog line, and then, which is what the green line's called, I guess. And so the umpire comes up and is like, "Look, I'm sorry. Like, we're going to switch out the curling thing and bring a new one in. Don't touch it."
Yeah.
And then they went on to lose, the Canada women, because they were cheating.
A lot of drama in the world of curling, which...
There's a lot of drama in skating, too. So, like, the U.S. ice dancing team got second, and then the French one got first, and the French team wasn't as good as the U.S. team. And in the past, what's happened is the judges from certain countries will work together to bump up the scores to beat the US. So they think that happened again. And already the US ice dancing team has put up a basically petition to the Olympics to rescore their matches. The drama.
A lot of drama going on.
Yeah.
In the Olympics.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes. Let's spend 5 or so minutes giving our thoughts on the Muppet Show. Finally, you've seen it now, so we can talk about it now.
Yes.
I'll just start by saying I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was entertaining. I thought having Sabrina Carpenter in was great because I think it probably got a lot more eyeballs than it would have otherwise. Because I don't think, as much as I love the Muppets, it seems clear, at least to Disney in a lot of ways, that they may not be the biggest draw that they used to be. So I think it did really well, and I think part of that is probably because of Sabrina Carpenter. So if they do it again, or renew it on any sort of recurring cadence, you'd have to see how it does without a mega superstar pop star involved. My only big issue, and I've been saying this online and stuff, is the voice for Kermit is just terrible. To the point where it doesn't sound like Kermit at all to me, and it just hurts the show. And I would go as far as to say, like, I think they should not only recast Kermit, but go back and redo the dialogue for this special and get somebody who sounds like the character. I completely understand that Jim Henson is gone. Brian Henson's not doing it. The guy they previously had who they fired is gone. And it's never going to sound exactly the same. And there's interpretations. I get all those attempts at making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You have one job. Make a character, hire somebody who knows how to sound like Kermit the Frog. They do it for all other characters all across time. They know how to do it. How do you take the lead main Muppet and drop the ball so bad on the voice where it is almost completely different that it saps me right out of everything every time Kermit talks? I think it was I don't understand how this is even possible. All the other characters, I get that Miss Piggy doesn't sound exactly like Frank Oz, but it's pretty good. And a lot of the other characters are solid. But there's one character you can't mess up because he's so recognizable, and it's Kermit. So I don't know if you're as impassioned about that, Lacey, but beyond that, it was fun, and I would like to see more. So congrats to the team. The set was great. Everything they did production-wise is fantastic, except for the voice of Kermit.
Yeah, it's interesting. So first of all, the Muppet Show is currently sitting at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes for both fans and critics, which is great. It debuted at 100, so it's only gone down 2%. It gathered up 7.58 million viewers in the first week, 8 days, on Disney Plus and on ABC. So it was a pretty big hit. So the big question is, will they keep making it? Because I think this was kind of a proof of concept from Seth Rogen. The voice of Kermit is Matt Vogel. So I was just quickly kind of Googling to see when he started. And he started in 2017, and he's been doing it since then. And he was chosen by the Henson family through auditions.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Families, just because you're blood relative of Jim Henson, maybe that doesn't automatically mean they should be the judge of creativity.
Yeah, so there's been 3 performers of Kermit. Jim Henson, which did it from 1955 to 1990, who's the original, obviously. We all know that. Then Steve Whitmire, who did it from 1990 to 2016, and he was the one who inherited it from Jim. And Jim Henson is the person that chose Steve. And then from 2017, after Steve got fired by Disney, the Muppet Studio and Henson family, after auditions, chose Matt Vogel. So that is who's currently doing Kermit's voice. And, there is some drama around this just because, a lot of people don't like Matt Vogel. A lot of people have stated that it's weird. Nobody likes it. The poor guy got chosen and he's getting ripped apart online by people, which is understandable from people that are big fans like us. Not necessarily ripped apart. I don't think we're being that rude, but he is getting destroyed online by people. And I mean, February 5th, 2026, there was a Yahoo article that says, "Why does Kermit's voice sound so different?" So it's like not a surprise that we're having this discussion of like, hey, this is all great, but like Kermit sounds weird, because he does. And someone said online that he sounds like Constantine, that like acting as Kermit, and then it never came out of that voice structure. And I think it's just hard because you and I grew up with the Muppets. So it's hard not to hear the Muppets the way that you know them. And like Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol are like some of my favorite movies ever. So when I hear Matt Vogel now as Kermit, I'm like, that's not the one I know. That's not Kermit. And it's tough because he was chosen by the Henson family and by the Muppet Studio. So I'm sure Disney's tied to that because they're like, well, we don't want to get rid of the guy that they chose. But it is weird. He also does stuff with Sesame Street. He does, I believe, Big Bird and The Count. Which is interesting because when I was watching Sesame Street with my kids, I also thought Big Bird doesn't sound like Big Bird. And it's because this guy's just slightly off enough that I'm like, he doesn't sound like the character.
Carol Spinney has a very distinct voice that was just it for decades and decades, sort of like Jim Henson in a way. And it's hard,
but I would
understand that it's hard to.
But I would argue on the same time, though, Elmo sounds exactly like Elmo.
Yeah.
And Elmo is not the same guy that originally did Elmo. It's a different guy.
Right.
So it's not that it's not possible to also learn how to do the voice in a way that like everybody would enjoy it. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. But we'll get away from Kermit for a second. Overall, I thought the show was amazing. Sabrina Carpenter is just like an all-around talent. And she's funny. She's obviously, gorgeous. She's an amazing singer, but like her comedic timing is just so perfect for this show. And you could tell that she was also a fan of the Muppets, and that's why she signed on to this outside of just, the opportunity to do this. And it makes sense because over the summer during her concert series, she had Miss Piggy at the LA stop and she arrested her in the concert, and it was so funny. Like she had a whole bit. But I thought it was just witty. I hate the laugh track. I know why they did it because that was like the kind of original thing and it makes sense. But like, I just despise laugh tracks so much. But it was just so, I don't know, heartwarming to see the Muppets again on screen and like seeing them get the moment to have the appreciation that they deserve. Like this world needs more Muppets. This world needs more things like this.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think that we have enough puppets in the world. And there's a reason why those are my favorite things from the Creature Shop and from Neil Scanlon and Star Wars, is because they have impacted me as a person and in my childhood and my creativity and imagination, that when I see stuff like this, I'm like, I just want my kids to also experience this. And I just hope that they continue doing it.
It does feel like you are stepping into a new world when you're surrounded by different puppets and different creatures and different sets that don't look like they're on this earth and stuff like that. And like, I remember watching Fraggle Rock as a kid, and every time you went through that little hole in that room into those tunnels, you felt like you were there and you felt like you were in this little world with the Fraggles. And it was just like, there was something about it that always like would capture my imagination as a kid. And I don't know, maybe those types of things like puppets aren't as big with kids today or something because it's a digital age. I don't know.
I don't think that's true though, because Bear in the Big Blue House has blown up online and on Disney Plus.
That's good.
Because kids have found it because their parents went and looked for it. And that's all puppets. And it's Jim Henson, Bear in the Big Blue House.
Big numbers and reviews great on both sides, despite my curmudgeonly thoughts on the voice of Kermit, which I really do think they got to change. I mean, it's kind of crazy to me.
Or have him go do lessons or something. Like, have him work on it a little bit.
And like to your point, the Henson family, they're the speaker of the estate, and they carry a lot of weight, of course. But I mean, if Jim Henson heard that voice, he'd probably be like, "That doesn't sound anything like me. What are we doing?" So
he doesn't really go up and down with his voice at all. It's very monotone.
It just there's no part of it where I'm like, oh, I see the Kermit there, like at all. So they just repositioning how Kermit sounds now, and that was the part that I said last week that made me more nervous. Is this going to become such the known voice of Kermit to young kids that when they hear the original Kermit, they're like, oh God, that doesn't sound like Kermit about Jim Henson, and that just drives me insane.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. I hope they do continue it, and we'll see what happens. But that does take us to the end of the show. So thank you all for listening or watching and getting nerdy with us on a Monday. We hope you had a good time with us. Let us know in the comments on YouTube or on Spotify, or you can email us nerdyandnicepod@gmail.com, or on social media, nerdyandnicepod. Or Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky, Lacey Gilleran everywhere on social media. What your thoughts are about all these stories. We talked about a lot, as we always do on this show. So I'm sure you have a lot of opinions. I'm sure at some point you were screaming at your phone or your radio, like, "Oh, what a bad take," or whatever you think. Just let us know. And we like to have fun, and we hope you do too. So we thank you all very much for being a part of Nerdy and Nice with us. Join the Patreon of TRB, patreon.com/TRB podcasts. We have a lot of exclusive content over there. We have a Discord server. We have live stuff. We're going to be doing more nerdy and nice-based stuff there, including our exclusive mini episodes that often incorporate topics from this show. And we appreciate that, as tiers start at just $5 over there. Lacey, I sort of gave you a plug for yourself, but please, by all means, let people know where they can find you.
Like you said, at Lacey Gilleran, that's where I am. Talking about Muppets and stuff like that.
And we will be back with you live Thursday night for another episode of the Resistance broadcast, talking all about Star Wars, of course. But that's it for us. So enjoy your weeks. We hope you're doing well, and we'll see you next time right here on Nerdy and Nice. See you around, kids.